Now, the UK government says it will push for international sanctions against Syria if Syrian security forces continue to use violence against pro-democracy demonstrators. Gunfire has been heard tonight in the southern town of Daraa, where many protesters are reported to have been killed since the start of the uprising a month ago. Nabila Ramdani is a journalist and commentator who specialises in the Arab world. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your understanding of what's going on inside Syria at the moment?
Well, the situation is extremely worrying. In spite of the ban on foreign journalists to enter the country to report on what's going on, and in spite of the stifling of the coverage by the Syrian government, there are still extremely authoritative reports coming out of Syria, mainly through ordinary citizens who are able to take pictures but also film what's going on. I have myself been able to speak to people on the ground, and they are describing the level, the absolutely sinister security crackdown that's going on the demonstrators, peaceful demonstrators, since the beginning of the uprising in mid-March. And
what sort of things are you hearing?
Well, for example, they're telling me that armed soldiers are firing within civilian areas, killing men, women and children in the process. So the Syrian security forces are absolutely killing people in an indiscriminate manner. House-to-house searches are organized to pick up ringleaders. Army tanks and snipers are being used in a very ruthless manner to quell the uprising. So it's the amount of the military action is absolutely horrendous. And this is exactly what we feared would happen in Benghazi, and yet it is actually happening in Syria. So these are not threats or rumors of civilians being killed, but civilians are currently being killed.
How widespread? Sorry to interrupt. How widespread are the demonstrations and the protests, though? How easy is it to assess the scale of the desire for change within Syria?
Well, it's very clear that the city of Daraa, specifically, which is in the southern part of the country, is very much the backbone of the uprising. Having said that, the uprising is sweeping across the country. It's very much happening in every city, but also villages across Syria. And another interesting element is that it's sweeping across any religious or social divide. So it's very much a protest on a major scale that is happening.
Who should act now then should anybody intervene? It'll be discussed at the United Nations. It's already been discussed at the United Nations and it's been discussed by the UK government. Who should act?
Well, the condemnations that we've heard so far from the European countries and from America, but also from the UN, of the level and indeed the violence of the crackdown is very welcome. But I fear it's not enough. There were even talks of imposing sanctions on Syria. Well, Syria is already subject to American sanctions, including aid restrictions and export bans, because of its presence on Washington's list of state sponsors of terrorism. So I'm afraid that won't be enough, and that surely won't dissuade Bashar al-Assad's regime to continue its crackdown on its population. It's a very tricky situation because the West has set a very dangerous precedent by interfering militarily in Libya. And already we're seeing the double standard, and one does wonder straight away, why is it that the potential onslaught on Benghazi has led to an endless raid on Libya, while an actual massacre in Syria is leaving the international community very cautious about what to say and what to do next?
Thank you very much, Nabila Ramdani.